some of us think that we need to be famous in order to be loved. But in reality, when you become famous, you have more people hating you all around you than they do love you. The reason is because when you're famous, you're around other famous people who are trying to shine. And some of those people worked really, really hard to get where they are. And if they think you're outshining them, they hate on you. They might smile in your face. They might say a good word to you, but they hate you. And secretly, they'd like to get a piece of your hair and put a voodoo spell on you so that you'll be much less, so they don't have to work so hard to stay afloat. You know, that's a harsh thing, but that's a reality. And then you've got all of the people who hate you because you become frustrated because you thought it was going to be so shiny and beautiful and wonderful and perfect. You thought you'd have no more problems. You thought all your money problems would go away. And the next thing you know, you find yourself in debt and you've got all these sold records and you think that you would be incredibly wealthy beyond all reality. You would think that you could build a waterfall and have money falling down. But you find out that as your paycheck grows, so does your bills. And you also find out that you've got people in your life maybe stealing from you. And the sad thing is, while you're trying to get love through this avenue, you find yourself surrounded with desperate people. They're all desperate to get in that spotlight that you're in. And they might say they love you, but they love the thought of getting in the spotlight with you more than they love you. It's a very sad thing, but it's true. The funny thing is, people are always getting into relationships with people, thinking that they're going to get loved so perfectly. They have this fairy tale idea, and they hang on to it, and they think it's going to be real someday. Well, I'll tell you, the only way that the fairy tale is going to be real is if everybody is on the same page with that, who are involved in that relationship. You see, nobody is perfect in this world. We are in a fallen world, people. We are in a fallen world. Now, like I said, we live in a fallen world. Adam and Eve did the first sins. They both sinned. They both decided to defy God. They decided to go out on their own and do what they wanted to do, thus setting in motion lots of pain and suffering and anguish and death. And now that we are here where we are, you and I, we have the power to change things. We can pray for people. We can show people what love is like. We can be that Christian that we always thought we could be. We can be that person. We can make that decision. We can decide not to be a people pleaser, but instead to be a God pleaser. And we can take the first step and love on people. Show people what love really is like. You know, well, I was feeling sorry for myself one day because I didn't think my husband loved me very much. Because I thought that he was so self-centered and all about himself. Well, one day I woke up and I realized it. I realized that I was the self-centered one. Who knew? Anyway, I realized that I was so self-centered that I didn't even see how much pain and suffering he was in. I couldn't believe it. I missed it. And you know why I missed it? Because I was so busy complaining, so busy thinking about myself, that I missed the fact that he was stressed, that he was hurting. He has migraines. Those things are brutal. Brutal. I've had migraines before. They're brutal. Yet he manages to have a smile and a kind word. He manages to still be able to maneuver about and do his job well. And sometimes he has a bad day at work. Maybe someone didn't quite appreciate him as they should have. Whatever it is, I could have been there for him. And you know, if I had been there for him, instead of whining and moaning and groaning about my own problems, I could have helped him get more comfortable. I could have looked up online or read a book about headaches and tried to find ways to make him more comfortable. And you know, in all of that, I would have forgotten about myself and my own problems. Isn't it funny how we always miss that avenue? See, we can make that decision. We can make that choice to be about God's kingdom and love on somebody. And while we are loving on someone, because you know, he commanded us to love. He did not give us any other options. But isn't it funny how we always choose to go our own way? Even us Christians, we still have our problems. You know, the problems don't go away. Sometimes they get worse. But we have someone with us. The Holy Spirit guides us unto all truth, teaches us all kinds of ways that we can love on someone, that we can be selfless in. But isn't it funny how we choose still to go our own way, and we bring shame unto God's name? And you would think that we would be loving on him, just like excited, you know? You would think that we'd be really excited about going out there and sharing the gospel and talking to people about our faith. Because whenever he makes us feel all this joy that is his joy, that he puts in us to make us feel wonderful inside, you would think that we want everybody to know about that. You would think that we'd be just loving on people, knowing that they're headed for a really horribly horrendous, I can't even get it out. I mean, agony, pain, suffering, no rest. You would think that you would think that we wouldn't want anyone to ever go to a hellish fate. You would think that we would be loving on others and trying to help them see where they're going. Because see, a lot of people don't even realize that sins kill. They really do. You know? At every turn, you're headed closer and closer to death when you sin. See, the funny thing is, you know, sins make us feel cursed and all, you know? And we are cursed when we sin. And you would think we wouldn't want anybody to feel that. You would think that we wouldn't want anybody to go through that. But isn't it funny how we sit quietly in a room with somebody talking to us about something? We could just insert it somewhere. And you'd think we'd want to do that. And some of us are so shy. And we're always afraid, oh, what if they ask me this and I don't know anything about that yet? And we're always worried that we're going to look bad to somebody because we don't know something. Well, you know what? God allowed it to be revealed to me one day that if I don't know something, I can always direct them to church. I can always direct them to my pastor. I can always direct them to maybe a friend of mine that I know knows a lot more than I do. I can always do that. And so, what stops us from sharing our faith? I'll tell you, it's always fear. It's always fear. But we should want to conquer those fears. We should want everyone to know how wonderful God's love is. And yes, He is great and terrible. Great and terrible. You should be in fear. But every time you feel like you're hated by the world, hated by everyone, hated by people who should love you and accept you, just understand, we all fall short. The Bible tells us this. We all fall short of the glory of God. Now, further addressing the love issue, there are many ways that we can show people love and be more selfless. See, unfortunate for me, I've been a couch potato for a lot of my life. I like to make music, love it. I like to write lyrics because I can speak my mind in a way that's really creative and fun. In a way that sounds really cool when you put it to music. And I really like that. However, a lot of times, I find myself sitting on the couch watching television when I could be out helping someone get free, helping someone feel loved. When you look around, what do you see? Do you see hurting people? Do you see angry people? There's so much hate out there in the world. People don't know love.